Hello and namaste, my beautiful friends. I'm Jill Loftus of Nuit Astrology. Welcome to your planetary energy forecast for the week of July the 14th, 2025. Now, as astrological weeks go, this is a lighter one as far as activities in the sky. Although, of course, we're still in this pretty interesting configuration of flow between the outer planets that I've spoken about at length in the past. So there's something there. Aries area of life, Gemini area of life, Aquarius area of life, where things are going through huge, massive amounts of change. Some of those changes are visible and some of them happening behind the scenes. So trying to harmonize that, definitely it's the blueprint for the month. Now, another major thing that's happening this week is Mercury is pausing in the sky and stationing retrograde. Now, this retrograde occurs on the 18th. It is at 12:45 a.m. Eastern, so adjust for your time zone. It might be on the day before, right? It might be on the 17th, but in that time range, Mercury is going to pause in the sky and begin its backward journey. Now remember, it entered the shadow zone on June the 30th, and so we've been reconsidering, repairing, rethinking, redoing something in the Leo area of life. It's at 15 degrees of Leo, and as it pauses in the sky and begins to move backwards, it actually engages in a beautiful sextile, a luck and blessing aspect, from Venus and Gemini. So there's something really beautiful here about the goddess making a connection to the messenger from the sign of all the possible potentials and ideas where Mercury prefers to be, which is where Venus is, over to the area of life that is about power and essence and leadership and creativity, which is Leo. So I'm loving this kind of energy for the week. I think it will invite a little bit of perhaps a little more optimism towards a creative project, maybe some new ideas, fresh energy flowing in. But the other thing that we're going to keep an eye on for the week is actually the meeting between Mars and the South Node in Virgo. Now, this isn't going to actually perfect or come together with mathematic precision until next week, technically, right? But you're going to start to feel this energy midweek, and that's going to be Mars coming closer and closer to that South Node in Virgo, which means it will be standing across the sky from the North Node in Pisces. And both North Node and South Node are going to be arguing with Venus. So she will also be arguing with Mars. So when Venus and Mars get into it, it can bring up the masculine and feminine dynamic in a negative way. Venus and Geminis wanting to keep it light, keep it casual, maybe not have all the details. Mars and Virgo doesn't like that at all, wants it all alphabetized, wants it to be specific, wants it to really be perfect in some way. And it also is this deep need to feel useful that Virgo has, right? If you're not feeling useful, sometimes you don't feel relevant. And the South Node, remember, it can be something that takes energy away. It's considered the dragon's tail versus the dragon's head, and so it's more about digestion. It's more about expelling. It can sometimes mean diminishment, but I also tend to think that it emphasizes the shadow of any sign, and with it in Virgo, it can really emphasize this negative martyr complex that sometimes the Virgo energy can present with. This idea that I'm the only one doing anything and no one else is being helpful. This idea that, there are all these reasons why we shouldn't do this way, and I don't have a solution. I'm going to veto it. I just don't want to do it. It can't be done my way, so never mind. That is what we have to really watch out for. And in fact, I did the Celtic Cross on this particular aspect, the meeting of Mars and the South Node, so stick around for that. But that's an energy we're going to kind of start to experience around Wednesday, and we're going to carry it all the way through. That wave is going to build as we move into next week, so keep that in mind. Another energy that we want to keep a little caution flag up on is at the end of the week, we also have the Sun moving into a difficult angle with Chiron. So Chiron is the part of us that feels damaged, the part of us that feels rejected, excluded, hurt. Feels like we can't share all that we are because there's someone judging it, right? And to have this Mars and South Node in Virgo at the same time as that Chiron being activated in a harsh way, I think it will really emphasize that. So we're going to watch this harsh angle from the Sun to Chiron because the Sun is in Cancer. The Sun is in touchy-feely, emotive, soft, gentle homemaker Cancer. And so it could feel a little extra reactive, especially when faced with moments where you have to do things alone. You know, that's Chiron in Aries, right? I've got to go it alone. I've got to do it myself. And not in a, don't do it in a way that it's like, oh, you know, nobody else can do it. Do it in a way that you're understanding, no, it's my responsibility. And this is my life and it's my responsibility. There's something really important and vital about spiritual unfoldment and maturity, whereupon we realize what is our responsibility and what is not, what we are to take on and what we are to do. And if we find ourselves at any point in the life, which we all do, dealing with feelings of disappointment or upset or, you know, think it's just not going our way, instead of balling up our fists and shaking them at the sky and asking why, we have to come into this acceptance of where we're at and decide where we're going to go from here. I always love to consider this Eckhart Tolle idea of, in every situation you have three options. One, accept the situation fully. So you're not going to rail about it. You're not going to whine about it. You're not going to let it do the loop in your head. Remove yourself from the situation. Peace out. I'm gone. Like, of course, in alignment with your Dharma, right? Or change it. Now, that change doesn't always happen overnight. And that's where, you know, when we study as yogis the concept of contentment. Contentment doesn't mean, oh, I guess I'm over it. Everything's fine, even if it's not fine. Contentment is knowing that you're putting in the effort to get to that better place. And you understand that there's a timeline for that, and that there's divine timing to that. And it might not be our personal timeline. That doesn't mean that we lose hope. That doesn't mean that it's not for us. As Goswami Kriyananda would say, life's delays are not life's denials. Not now doesn't mean never. It means not now. And so there's a lot of life circumstances and a lot of things going on in the world right now that can bring feelings of disappointment and sadness and overwhelm and frustration. The rules are all changing, okay? It's kind of like you started playing Monopoly and all of a sudden it's chess and you don't know the rules yet. None of us do. We're figuring it out. So try to find that compassionate nature of Pisces across the sky from Virgo, but also that fluidity of Pisces energy, that adaptability, that mutability, as we might say in astrology. So for the week, I would say the light, well, we start the week with the sun and still in kind of like a nice little vibe to the nodes. The sun is kind of grooving with the nodes, particularly with, sun in Cancer to water sign, south or north node in Pisces. So really envelop yourself in intuitive practices, spend some time in water. I'm really liking the Mercury and Leo sextile of Venus too. I think that's really a nice little spark, a little verve, a little help. And hopefully that will help give her some buoyancy as she moves into this difficult angle with Mars and the nodes. And then finally, Mercury stationing retrograde. There's some news there. There's some information there in the Leo area of life, and we got to listen for it, right? We've got to hear it. We've got to see it, and we have an opportunity again. So if there was something we missed, or something we thought was supposed to happen or unfold, and then it didn't, this will give us that opportunity. As far as the shadow of the week, well, getting ready for that Mars conjunction to the South Node. I do think Martian energy, especially in Virgo, can be a lot to handle. I'm also, keeping an eye on that T-square to Venus. She makes nice with Mercury, but then she starts to get into it with Mars and the nodes. That can be a lot, especially for when Venus is in an air sign. The thoughts, the ideas can be really overwhelming. And then finally, Chiron square the Sun. That stings a little. It's a little hard, right? But that's part of our journey to be people who are healed and therefore help others, really. I mean, that's One of the key things to ever remember in your life, if you ever find yourself really down, really suffering, one of the best ways to dig yourself out of that hole is to be useful to somebody else, to do for others what you maybe can't even do for yourself. I know that's rescued me many, many, many times in the life. So I hope you found this useful and helpful. If so, please comment below. Please stick around for the Celtic Cross, and do check out the Isis Lotus tarot spread that I posted yesterday. Interestingly enough, with such a reasonably mild astrological week, the cards were really kind of tense. They made the indication that there was going to be some major changes this week. And you know what I think that might be is a little bit of a delay to the movement of Uranus into Gemini. I feel like due to the sextile from Saturn, it's like slowing it down a little bit. It's almost like Saturn has it in its tractor beam, and it's slowing some things down. But it's very possible that there might be some bumps this week. So be sure to check those out, see if they're useful or helpful to you. I hope they are. I'm starting a new life transformation with the new moon this month. So if you're interested in a life transformation course, please check it out on the website. And again, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for commenting. Namaste. Hello, beautiful friends. Namaste. This is the Celtic Cross for the week of July the 14th, 2025. I'm taking a look at the meeting between Mars and the South Node. So this does not actually perfect until next week. We really won't start to feel it till mid-end of week. But with the North Node right across the sky, right? North Node always travels across the sky from the South Node. I think this is going to be very powerful, this Mars in Virgo. I think this perfectionist streak, this harshness, this, idealism, I think it's going to be a lot. In some ways, the South Node being there could actually detract from that and help you find a more balanced opposition with Pisces across the sky, more inspiration. But Celtic Cross for the collective, how to begin to prepare for this conjunction as we move through the week. Otherwise, it's a pretty quiet astrological week, all things considered. So let's just take a look. Let's ease into this, since it'll be happening right Sunday, Monday, end of week, beginning of next. All right, so you, in this circumstance, 4 of Cups. So in this particular reading, I'm going to feel this as being a trust the process, let it evolve, be more connected, be more Pisces, right? What is crossing you is 6 of Swords, the need to get to a better place, all right? In the past, Ace of Wands, wanting to start something new. It's fascinating. A lot of duplicate cards from the Isis Lotus tarot spread I posted yesterday coming up. Future, 8 of Cups. There's something you've got to abandon. You've got to leave the pieces on the floor and move on. You've got to say, it doesn't matter how much energy, time, money I put into this. It's no longer working. It's not viable. I've got to go. Crowning thoughts, 6 of Wands. You're also maybe seeking some attention here, some recognition, appreciation. Hey, you've done a good job. I mean, that's, Virgos. I do think Virgos really thrive on that whole, like, oh my gosh, yes, you did this. You helped me. You came up with the solution. That feeling of capability and also being needed is key. Subconsciously, 6 of Pentacles, you're thinking, wow, okay, this is going to take a lot out of me, okay? I'm going to have to really pour a lot of energy. Again, there's crossover cards like crazy here to the spread from yesterday. Advice, 10 of Cups, focus on family, focus on security, safety, abundance, emotional happiness, the things that really friggin' matter. All right, outside influence, Magician. Also, lean into the fact that you are a co-creator in the universe, and you do have a sense of capability of, everything that has ever happened to me has given me the tools to get through this. What do you want to happen? Ace of Cups. You're ready for this new beginning, and it's interesting. In the Isis Lotus tarot spread yesterday, in the outcomes. One was Ace of Wands, one was Ace of Pentacles. Here's the Ace of Cups. I think everybody's really new for the fresh, or ready for the fresh, the new, the next. They're tired of getting bogged down in all of these things. It's been really hard. And then the outcome, Seven of Swords. Look at that. So interestingly enough, again, this is a card that came up in the spread from yesterday about this week. The Seven of Swords is loss, theft, somebody taking something from you. So you've got to be really alert this week that it could just be taking your self-worth. It could be somebody taking your time away from you, taking your optimism, stealing a creative idea or pathway from you. You know, someone deflates your balloon with, you know, you give them your idea and they like poke holes in it. And so you, instead of pursuing it, you walk away. Watch for this. And the Reader's Fan says, Empress, go ahead and create the thing you want. Knight of Pentacles, and move forward with it. Three of Wands, you've already made some progress. Wheel of Fortune, this is all bigger than you anyways. So really interesting. Think about where the Virgo Pisces axis is in your chart and see if you can apply this idea of needing to move away from something else, focus on what really matters, and guard against theft. All right, good tip for the week. All right, I hope it's great. Keep in touch. I'll see you next week. Bye.